Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins with a Combat Radio, and it's a special edition. Special edition. Okay, we have joining me as soon as I drop the link, which I will do in a second, Coach K. Okay, and we're going to be talking about what we're talking about. First of all, let me do a sound check. What's going on? Where's the sound? Where's the sound? We got to get this thing right. Let me listen. Uno momento. Yes. Okay. Yes. We are good. We have sound. Okay. Got to make sure this thing is set up right. Okay. So where are we? Okay. I think we got the screen right. So let me drop the link. Or as a matter of fact, let me just explain what's going on. Okay. So people will be aware. Most of you will be aware. Many of you will be aware of the show last night. What was that show? Uno momento. Hold on. Let's have a quick look. Let's go back into the back catalog. What was that called? Okay. Is it because I is white? Are the LDBC losing their shizzle? Because Tyson Fury is white. And within that show, we touched on quite a few subjects. And one of the subjects caught the attention of one Coach K. And he's right here up in the building. And he hit me up backstage, in the secret society. I've spoke of the secret society before. Hit me up backstage. And as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, hold on a second. Let me make sure I don't misquote him. Let me make sure I get the quote correct. I'm about to drop the link. Uno momento. Where are we? Where is it? Okay. Yeah. So Coach K wrote, Raphael, run that conversation back. It's political and I want in. Fire conversation. And I responded, yes. Yeah, man. What day do you prefer? Monday, Wednesday, or Friday? And where is it? Where's the response? Okay, so Coach K says he's checking the calendar now. I said, cool, and the gang. Coach K says, what about 2 hours from now? And I said, damn. Okay, we are now officially live. And I said, damn. Well, I thought, damn, I got them doing things right about now. But I thought, well, damn, if you want to do it now in a couple hours time, well, I thought, well, damn, let me try and accommodate Coach K. So I said, okay, 4 p.m. UK time. And before I even asked him the question, because my next question was going to be, what was your preferred title? Or before I even wrote it, Coach K came back with Vices, Leadership, and Community. And boom, boom, boom. That's how we came to be here. You know that Raphael don't be here normally at this time of day. Normally go live later on in the day. But you know what? I thought, hey, come on. If we want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation with Coach K. And as you see, Coach K is here. So that's the backdrop. So let me drop the link in the chat. Now that we're live, we got people up in here. Okay, we are good. So, boom. The link is now in the chat. Okay. So, we're about to get into this conversation. People, if you didn't catch the conversation yesterday, then for sure, go ahead and check it out. It was a fire conversation. I think I just read the title to you. What is it? Is it because I is white? Are the LDBC losing their shizzle because Tyson Fury is white? We've never had Coach K on the channel before, to the best of my knowledge, but we're going to do that now. So the link is in the chat, as you can see. And In comes, hold on, let's make this tidy up this thing. In comes the man like Coach K. Coach K, how do you do?
Hey, what's up, man? Mic check 1 2 1 2. How we sound?
Loud and clear, loud and clear. Magnifique, magnifique.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my friend, let's get into it. Let's get into it. You do the backdrop. You heard the show last night, and take it from there.
All right. So first off, let me say Happy New Year's to everybody. Let's start this off right.
Yes.
We're talking about politics.
Right.
Politics is defined as who gets what, when, and how. And there's two avenues of politics. You're talking about economics and you're talking about social issues. Now, you guys went into a scenario and a conversation, great conversation about pimping and the culture and somewhat of the state of black men in leadership and a position of prostitution slash pimping, which also can be flipped into human trafficking. So let me explain something. I heard the scenario that you guys were.
Hold on a second. Sorry to cut you. John Daly, you know what? Me and Coach K are going to chop it up for about 20 minutes, half an hour or so. And then maybe, other people can jump in. Okay, John?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Cool in the gang, John. Cool in the gang. Okay. People can join in later on. But first and foremost, we just want to, Coach K and I, chop up what happened, the conversation last night. Back to you, Coach K.
All right. And you can bring those guys that was on the panel last time live in HD too, if you please. What was stated in the video was the analogy about a clock being broken and it could be right 2 times a day. But the scenario and the analogy was completely off. It's more like a clock that tells time accurately, but you're living in 2 different time zones. So it's going to be different, like the young man was stating on your podcast about the pimp game or prostitution or human trafficking. Now, when you guys have to understand that women are bolder, stronger, and more liberated than ever. Women can make their own choices and their own decisions. That's part of the reasons why we're here now, because women have stated that, look, we want to be able to do what it is that we choose to do as equals without any interference or backlash from the opposite sex, which is men or men. Women have told us in this society today that they don't want to be put in a box. So when you guys talk about leadership and pimping, and you guys are pinning on leadership, I pose this to you. Who's to say, because these are real scenarios, we're having a social conversation. Who's to say that the woman is not the boss and she simply hires a guy to be the muscle? Maybe it's a case where she's holding all the chips and the guy who you're looking at, who you question his leadership, maybe it's a scenario where he's not the leader at all. In addition to that, you don't know. See, and this is why it's important to mind your business. You don't know if a female is an agent. You don't know if this female that you may feel is a victim or a participant, she could be trying to make a case. See, that's why it's important to have all the facts and all of the understanding from a leadership and man perspective. We all get on here and we talk about man things, but we don't necessarily act out man things. Your consciousness has to run deeper than what's on the surface. And what the problem is with the world is that most people try to make laws to infringe on other people. They want to put a cap on other people rather than making laws that's going to make them blossom and be the best that they can be. Okay, I'll say that again. Most people, like Ralph, you had a great conversation, man, and you've been nothing but kind to me. I have nothing but love and respect for you. You're my OG. But your thinking along the lines of leadership And whether or not somebody is or isn't really your business. But however, the broad conversation is you don't know the scenario. Again, I will say, what if she's making a case? You know what I'm saying? What if she's undercover? That's one. Two, what if she's actually the boss? And the hired help is just muscle to protect her from things that she have understanding about within the game based on the choices that she's made.
Okay. So that's the opening from Coach K. They're very kind words, very kind words. Okay, so where do I begin? Okay, so hopefully people have watched last night's show, so they will have context. They will have context to this conversation. But just in case you didn't, during last night's show, we moved over to a conversation. I posed a conversation about leadership. I posed a conversation asking, where does pimping fit into a leadership role? Can a pimp be a leader of a community? I posed that question, and my stance was that a pimp being a leader of what is supposed to be a conscious community is, to my mind, an oxymoron. If you're supposed to be uplifting a community, to my mind, pimping out a lady runs paradoxical to that, not in harmony to that. It's a paradox. Women, every man comes from a woman. Not every woman is a nice woman, but the starting point has to be one of respect. The man is the stronger of the species, almost any species, any mammal. The male is the stronger of the two and physically the most dominant. Therefore, as far as what's the word I want to use? As far as renting out, shall we say, can we say, a lady's services, El Jefe, we're not having anybody in right now. It's just me and Coach K chopping it up. Later on, maybe people can jump in. So if you just jump out again, please, we get guests on later. So jump out, El Jefe. El Jefe, jump out, please. Okay, all right. I'm about to get rid of you. Okay, please don't come in until, we tell you the floor, we open the floor. So as far as that's concerned, I feel it is immoral, unethical for a man to do that to a woman, no matter if it's perceived to be a good woman or a bad woman. I see the man's role as the provider and the protector. That's my starting point. Now, I'll get to your position. You pose the question, what if it is the woman who is the leader in that situation? And in that instance, I do see a difference. If it is the woman who has solicited the services from a man, as a protector, then the scenario changes. The woman is then the leader. If it is the woman who is the leader, then that is a different scenario. Back to you, Coach K.
So then you agree with the possibility that the woman could indeed be what you would consider to be the perpetrator. Okay, so women can be perpetrators. Women can sell dope. they can be murderers, and they have a more cerebral approach than what you say are men, but you call them males. Males apply to animals. We're not animals, we're humans. So woman and man is the proper term that I will use. That's how I will address us as people, us as humans. Now, where I differ from you is that your line of thinking is along the lines of what another man is doing and claiming based on limited information. Okay, the proper thing to do, and this is an overlooked concept, you have to mind your business. And that's, I'm not saying that from a position that, oh, we're just trying to tuck and snuff something under the rug and not address the issue, because we're going to address the issue. But you cannot single out a man or a person all the time because of what you see with limited information. You don't know who's the victim. Too often do we portray black men as the perps, and it may be a team effort. Those people are adults. They can do what they want to do. And prostitution is legal in Vegas. Prostitution, if y'all don't know, I have been all over the world. Ralphie, have you ever been to Rio de Janeiro? Copacabana Beach?
I have not been to Brazil yet.
Okay. Chile?
No.
Peru?
I have not been to South America.
Thailand?
I have been to Thailand, yes.
Okay, so perfect. Now, all of those that I named that Ralphie hadn't been to, prostitution is legal. The women there have the right to do what they have to do with their system and their laws in place. Now, since you've been to Thailand, I'm sure that you should be familiar with 4 Floors of Whores. Are you not?
I understand that. Yes, yes, yes.
And that's the mall with 4 floors, and prostitutes are standing outside of each shop. They actually have prostitution shops inside the mall. You could buy a PS3 here, PS4 here, or PS5, and next door you could go over there and you could get it in with a woman standing next door. And they stand right outside of the storefronts. And it's a nice mall. I've been to Dubai. I've been 7 times to Dubai. Have you been to Dubai?
I have not been to Dubai.
Okay. So in Dubai, it's the same thing. Okay. The women come from Ethiopia or wherever it is, some from the UK, and they make a living based on their choices and the decisions that they best see fit for themselves. Okay. The issue is not about a man and what he's doing with his group of people. It's about us as men collectively. Because like you said, we're men and we're the stronger species. But I would argue that all men are not created equal. God created mighty men and he created regular men. So the guys who keep claiming that they're men, you're not necessarily at the top of the food chain all the time. That's why you got to come to the well to have conversations with different men, because all you are not designed to be leaders. You're designed to work. Okay, and that's not disrespectful or disrespect, but a lot of you guys are not equipped with the tools to use wisdom and discernment to look at scenarios and put it in its proper context. And that's what I'm offering today. Now, listen, I agree with you. Morally, you said everything perfect. But what you have to do, if you have a daughter, if you have a mother, your responsibility is to your lifeline, your bloodline, and nobody else's. Somehow we've got tricked off our square to worry about everybody else's business but our own. Because see, if we start pulling up the skeletons in your closet, that means you or me, if I were to criticize that level of leadership through pimping, I have to have a squeaky background on all things sex. I could have never fornicated. Okay, because that was somebody's daughter, that was somebody's mother, and I did not marry them. Okay, so it's different scenarios, and to say it's not the same, there are levels to it, but it becomes murky when you start intervening in people's business with your own preferences and beliefs.
Okay. So I was very clear that I was not being specific to any individual. We were working with the reality that you could have a leader out there who is indeed what one would generally refer to as a pimp. And we discussed that matter. Pimping, pimp on the one hand, community leader on the other. Can the two twain? Or is it never the twain shall meet? My position is, and I'll get to your points directly in a second. My position is that a pimp is not, I repeat, not a good community leader. A good community leader is someone, of course, who no one is squeaky clean. No one is squeaky clean. But a community leader is a man. That means that he has gone through his boyhood stage. He has put away his boyhood and childish ways, and he has now graduated to be called a man. By definition, someone who has put away their childish ways, someone who has straightened out their act. My position is that you cannot be engaged in such unsavory acts and be a leader of a community. Okay, so that's the first part. I'm going to write that down because I want to remember that. Community leader. Okay, you cannot be engaged in such acts and be the leader of a community. That's my position. Okay, so women do have liberty. They do have the right to do as they so see fit with their bodies. With that, I agree. However, I cannot see a man pimping out a woman as a community leader. I simply cannot see that. Over to you.
I agree with that. So I've already stated that it is plausible, and you agreed that it doesn't have to be on the man. So we agree that it could be both. So I'm having a conversation about both man and woman. I'm not just putting it on a male or a broad stroke of male-ism. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. You're right about your principles with leadership and being a detriment to the community at the same time. I agree with you. But that's not the reality of all these 7 billion people on earth. You know what I'm saying? It's some people who still, for instance, remember when they used to tell us that marijuana was bad, it was the devil's lettuce? You could not convince anybody with in the 40s, 50s that it wasn't a bad deal. It wasn't a bad situation. Now that we've got smarter, we've socialized it, because we're talking about a social issue, right? Okay. Now it has become normalized and is found to have great benefits. And with us as blacks, there's going to be people who are going to just be sinful and downright lawbreakers. My position is that regardless of what you think of those black people, they're still our people. We just have to control the vices that we have, because people are going to drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, fornicate, and things of that nature. Us as leaders have to provide those people with every avenue to exhaust in order to become better, productive citizens. Because what people fail to realize is that the social construct within a society is an agreed upon deal that we agree upon. If you don't like the society, then you could go and become nomadic and roam around the earth and just live like bums do, or homeless people decide to do Skid Row in California. They just side, hey, I want to live off the grid. But when you decide, like you live in a civilized society, you pay taxes, you and participate in the political process, these are some of the things that you're going to have to deal with when you're talking about a group of people agreeing to live in a certain space together and pay taxes to have higher representation from a political standpoint. And those people want different things. Some people with me, you're not going to convince me that I don't need guns. I like bazookas, tanks, and all the things that I want. But some people might feel like that's excessive. But for me, I want to, based on African American history, we can't afford not to have guns. Now, somebody else may feel different, but that's how I feel. So, can you be flawed and be a leader? Absolutely. Because no one's Jesus. No one's a perfect man. We all know that. And you agree with me that you can be flawed. Okay? You agree with me. But sometimes people need help, man. Again, the leadership, like you said, you're not talking about a specific person, but we're having a general conversation. If I'm pimping in the streets, I may need your intervention. The girl may be in charge. It may not be me. I could have been molested by women, and that's all I know. A lot of you guys here, who knows what don't happen to you? Some of you guys on this tube, I'm guaranteed some of you guys have touched on some girls that you shouldn't have. I'm sure you've had inappropriate behavior, and you had to be corrected. And some of us were corrected. Okay. But you didn't start off born with leadership qualities. Those qualities have to be developed. And you can still be a leader on certain levels, even if you're flawed. People been leaders of the United States and they beat the piss out of slaves and raped them. Is it right? Absolutely. Is it something that I agree with? Absolutely not. Thomas Jefferson having sex with his slave, Sally Hemings, okay, and had a family. If you don't know, in Georgia, we all know that Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, is related to Berry Gordy because of that system. Berry Gordy and Jimmy Carter are related.
Okay. So, yes, I understand leadership. I did see the video of Mayor Barry of Washington smoking crack. I did see that. I do understand that leaders are not necessarily paragons of virtue. I do understand that George Washington is the father of many black mixed race children. I understand all of that. I do understand that Bill Clinton had his proclivities. I understand all of that. What I'm saying, that is reality. What I'm saying is that I question someone who is so, well, a hypothetical person. I question a hypothetical person who is so clearly flawed, or let me rephrase that, who is clearly involved in what could be described as immoral activities. I question the leadership of someone who is clearly still involved in amoral activities. Can such a person be a leader? I think that was the question. The question is yes. Should a person who is involved in amoral activity, can such a person be looked upon as a fit and proper leader?
Well, yes, because you have different levels of guidance that is needed. Some people are on crack, and some of us are not, and that's not even a thing to us. Some of us don't have issues. And what you're saying is right. I agree with you. I wouldn't be a pimp. It's just not in my nature. I have no desire to do it. Is it great leadership for me and what I do? Absolutely not, because there's too many inherent risk that goes along with that. I don't know if a girl is an agent. I don't want to catch any diseases. I don't want to facilitate and manage a girl in her body and all that. I know that's a waste of my time for me. You know what I'm saying? But I can't speak for everybody else. You know, maybe me collecting a whole bunch of guns or being on YouTube is a waste of somebody else's time. You know, maybe this conversation that me and you are having is the waste of a lot of people's time. But we all have to come together. As I told you before, the agreement of living in a area of responsibility and divvying out economic resources and talking about these social issues. Okay. Years ago, the LGBT family and friends didn't have the leisure that they had or the rights that they considered to have now, because they had to vocalize and constantly grind to get what they wanted out of society. Now, people grow. Okay. Saul turned to Paul, you know, from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? He was a Christian killer. If you believe or subscribing to the Bible. We've seen people make good turns before in history and throughout life and realize the error of their ways. So I'm not looking at a person and questioning their leadership because I have leadership. I don't have to question if you are a leader or not. I lead this way, and if you lead that way, then we're not going down the same path. I don't look at a person as a god. I look at a person as a man that is possibly trying his best and dealing with the resources and tangibles that he has been given. Okay. Considering the fact that slavery has done a number on African American people, man. People got to stop underestimating the facts of slavery, because if you say you don't understand, then let's switch spots. How about this? Let's let all the other people who weren't slaves volunteer their services for 500 years. Keep it in mind, I get to whip you across your back. I get to put devices around your neck so you can't run. I have sexual access to your daughters and all that, and even the males. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta really take a look at the root problem, which is the slavery and the transatlantic slavery issue. Okay. A lot of people are trying to put together history and put it back together, but you inherently, right now, in this space, you have to focus on yourself and then bring people in with relevant proof and examples so that they can follow you and they can have an alternative to a leader that may be pimping or do things that you personally disagree with.
EJ Boxing makes a point. He says Malcolm X was a pimp. And to that I say the operative word is was. So, like I said before, when you graduate from certain unsavory habits or activities, you can then ascend to the role of leader. There is nothing wrong about someone previously having unsavory practices, unsavory habits. There is nothing wrong with that person putting those habits to one side and ascending to the role of leadership. But for someone to be currently engaged in unsavory practices, unsavory habits, and taking that with them into a leadership position is where I have difficulty.
Well, you're gonna have difficulty when you're okay. You're gonna have a difficult understanding of that when you're focused on that person in their business. See, that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Ralph, you're an OG, you're a leader. And I like what you did on the video because it took a younger guy like me and it stimulated me to want to have a conversation with one of my OGs. See, so your leadership is and your thinking is aligned with kind of what I would think outside of you minding somebody's business, you know what I'm saying? And not considering the big picture. Again, I'm gonna bring it back home again. You don't know if a person has had trauma or they just want to do what the hell they want to do because they pay taxes and it's legal. First of all, you see all these porn sites. So I'm gonna say this to you. I know a lot of you guys on here watch porn. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. That's a form of pimping. What's the difference? That's a form. The producer produces it. They sign contracts and they allow the girls to go in there and they have sex under the banner of their agent with other males. So when our community take advantage of its own vices, which I agree with, if we're going to have vices, we need to take advantage of that ourselves and take control of that and stop putting it in other people's hands, because other people have vices too, but they find a way to legalize and give the sensation that what they're doing is right. I already told you, I went to Thailand. They had 4 floors of hoes in a mall. That's crazy. Dubai, even girls are getting flew out to Dubai to get all kind of things done to them. This is just real talk. Prostitution, if you talking about what you're thinking about pimping from a primitive standpoint. Pimping is digital now, buddy. Technology, these girls are advertising that type of behavior with the twerking, the shaking. And instead of pinpointing and blaming each other as black boys and men, we need to unite, lock arms, and we need to march down the streets, and we need to eradicate some of this behavior, if that's how you feel. But at the same time, the women or these women are perceived victims as well as males. We have to get feedback and understanding from them before we just cast judgment. Because again, what if that girl is an agent and she's making a case and she's on course to bring that quote unquote leader down? What if he's an agent and he's finna bust a prostitution ring that she runs? You see, it's just you don't have enough information to make that prediction or that claim about a specific person or general people in general, is what I'm saying.
My position is that if a woman can do as she so sees fit. If a woman wants to work in an office, she gets her qualifications and she pursues that role. If a woman wants to work in a factory, she gets the relevant training and she pursues that role. If a woman wants to work in the adult service industry, then she pursues that role. My issue is not with a woman making choices. A woman can make whatever choice she so sees fit. My issue is with a man brainwashing a woman, coercing a woman, grooming a woman or a child to work in the adult industry. That is my issue. Not with a woman making a choice, but with a man making a choice on behalf of the woman. That is my issue.
But you have to have the information that back your claim or your theory. Now, you're absolutely right. If a guy's out here dragging a girl by her hair, come on, that's ridiculous. I think we both don't have to go down the common sense path to understand that we're not having a conversation about aggression, blatant disrespect. We're on the lines of, it appears that a choice has been made between 2 consenting adults, and you are grounding your perspective of their business rather than sticking to your business and your principles and offering alternatives. Not to suggest that you're not doing that collectively, but in this scenario, because even in this video, you got the LDBC hashtag in it, correct? Correct?
Sorry, this video?
Yeah, I thought I
This
saw.
specific video?
Yeah, I thought I saw a
Yes,
hashtag.
yes.
So let me give an example. I'm not LDBC. Are you?
I am not.
Okay, so I find that unnecessary to have here with a conversation between me and you as two brothers. The LDBC has nothing to do with this, and the perceived image that people are getting from you as an OG is disappointing to me because we're gonna have an intellectual conversation around the elephant in the room, which is 78. That's what you're talking about. But we will not mention his name for the sake of mental gymnastics. But it's already understood and can be implied what you and who you are talking about. You're talking about the leader of, who will remain nameless, the leader of a group of brothers that have got together because of their own reasons and their own rhyme. We are on the other side of that. And what I want to tell you all is to leave them guys the fuck alone. Let's keep building what the hell we doing. You guys are too good, man. Ralphie, your voice, man, you're incredible. You're an OG. We don't have to reduce ourselves to constantly talk about the LDBC. We got all the knowledge over here, all the cool cutters. Fuck them. No disrespect to them. And I'm saying that from a football standpoint, like if you ain't with me, you're against me. Not to say that we're enemies with anybody or we got any issues, but you have to focus on being a leader that you are. You can't mind people's business, man. I don't know why people feel that it's an itch to mind people's business. I just don't understand. You don't even know if, man, that could be that man's wife, and we don't know. Maybe it's a game. I ain't searched it to find out if he's actually doing anything. I don't know what they doing over there because I don't give a fuck. And let me tell you this 100, bruh. Bruh, I don't, bruh, man, you gotta look better. Bruh, some girls just don't hold my attention. I'm gonna say that for me to even care. No disrespect. And that might apply to me. I might not hold some women attention. But she chose, if that's the case, who she chose to have attention with and who she chose to get it from. And that's their business. And what we got to focus on is what we do over here. And that's boxing. Ain't no pimps and no hustlers over here from my understanding. So mind your business.
Well, I was very careful. I was very careful not to mention any names, and I will continue not mentioning any names. But if hypothetically we have a group who consistently and persistently point the finger at others, point the judgmental fingers at others, I am afraid to say, my friend, that fingers will be pointed back. So we have hypothetically, we have a highly judgmental group. There is no group more judgmental than the group you named. And I'm afraid if you are a part of a group who on a daily, on the minute, on the hour, on the second, points the finger at others scornfully, I'm afraid to say, my dear fellow, the finger of scrutiny will be pointed back at you.
Yeah, I understand that. Again, God made mighty males, Nimrod to be exact, the first one, King David, so forth and so on. You guys get it. All of us are not meant to be leaders. And I understand that. And you're right. Somebody who doesn't exhibit leadership qualities would point the finger back at somebody because they're picking at them or whatever the case may be. But as a real man, as a leader who will die on his shield and who will make an example out of you if things come to fruition or push come to shove, you understand that the stakes are high as a leader. And you don't have time to play tit for tat, pity pat games, especially considering the fact that I've been looking at my analytics since I've been back. Most of the people that look at my videos are 35 to 45. Most of you guys are older than me. It's not, I'm not, a lot of it is 99% men on my analytics. And I've been told this by several other people who taught me about analytics. Most other, I used to be like, hey man, maybe these are just these trolls or, 17-year-old, 18. No. They're 35 to 45-year-olds with multiple accounts, minding everybody's business.
So again, like I say, if you have a group, hypothetically, if you have a hypothetical group, on the minute, on the second, on the hour, pointing the finger at others, criticizing, rebuking, scorning, I'm afraid that at some point, the torch of scrutiny will be turned back upon them. And that is inevitable. If you're out here scorning, calling names, then at some point you're going to have to come under the microscope and people are going to have to take a good look at you. That is a reality. It's not petty. It's just, it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
Okay, so when you say that it's appropriate, I get it. Tit for tat. You said this about me. I'm going to say this about you.
Oh, sorry. Let me just interrupt you. Sorry. Let me just interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's not a question of tit for tat. It's a question of looking at the situation.
Okay.
Looking at you. So at some point, you have to scrutinize a situation. You have to look at it clearly. You have to dissect it. You have to analyze it. Okay. And I think that is what this is.
Now, my question to you is, what makes you qualified and who authorized you to take that responsibility?
Okay. If an individual or an organization is offering out criticism on the minute, on the second, on the hour, you have to look at the organization and the qualities and lack thereof of that organization. And anyone can do that.
Okay, so with the organization we're talking about is generally, but we're talking about the LDBC. And the reason I'm going to say that is because you already have it hashtagged in our video. So what won't happen with me is I won't have that hashtag there and not respectfully say what we're addressing. Because then what happens is I look like a sucker. So I saw it in there and I was like, oh, that's even better because I know we're going to really cook on this. What I am doing is I'm just giving you a young man perspective, Ralph, based on the content that you created. You are the OG. You're entitled to think how you think. But again, you don't have authorization to, now you can use your freedom of speech. Don't get it twisted. Everybody got freedom of speech and I salute that. But you're not authorized to make that judgment call. You're essentially you're cool to me, but you're essentially a nobody to that organization. However, if you can tell me and provide me with the date and time that you were scrutinized and that motivated you to scrutinize them back, then I'm all ears. See, then we moving into how we need to maneuver and treat each other as brothers. So if you're saying a shot was sent at you and you're sending a shot back, that's a different story. So is that what you're doing?
I came into the YouTube community with the intention of bringing harmony and unity. I reached out on several occasions to a certain group or groups. We had interactions, but I must say that overall, Now, I don't take it personal. So for me, this isn't a personal issue. This ain't no personal issue to me. I don't lose no sleep. I sleep good. Rafi sleeps good. Yeah? Rafi sleeps good. But it did not escape my attention that, and it won't escape my attention, that if you act holier than thou, it is right, proper, and fitting that we take a look at you. Now, me, I don't act holier than thou. I'm just a man. But if there's an organization acting holier than thou, it is right, proper, fitting, and appropriate that the microscope be turned upon them. Now, is that petty? No. That's analytics. You talked earlier on about you checking your analytics. We do that. We check the analytics. We look at the landscape. We see who's occupying the landscape. If you have an organization who is on the minute, on the second, every hour, every damn video, criticizing, scrutinizing, admonishing, scorning others, my good man, I'm afraid to say that the microscope has to be turned back upon the organization. Does that mean that Rafi's losing any sleep? Not a wink. Rafi sleeps good. But if you shine in the spotlight, if you shine it everywhere other than at yourself, at some point, someone is going to take the spotlight from you and shine it back into your face.
So you have an issue specifically with what, as it concerns the LDBC or 78 Sports TV, if that is a situation. What specifically is your disagreement or issue with them? Let's go ahead and get it and lay it out on the table so we can go ahead and do shit. That's what we're here for. Lay it out. Let me hear this.
My dear fellow, I have been on the channels, on those channels. I have spoken with some of those members. And, you know, I don't have a problem getting on with people. So I get on with people. However, my situation is not in the slightest personal. It is absolutely not personal with me. It is merely a matter of principle. If you're in the habit of shining the spotlight at others, at some point, the spotlight has to be taken from you and it's going to have to be shone back at you. It's very simple. But let's not get it twisted. Rafi ain't losing no sleep. It's a matter of what is appropriate. If you're shining the spotlight everywhere else, criticizing people on the minute, on the second, every hour, it's only right and fitting and proper that the spotlight be shone back on you. Do I have any personal issues with any individual? Absolutely not.
So the question I will always raise is, and it's rhetorical, you know, if you don't have any issues and, you know, you're not losing any sleep, then like Bane say, why are we here? Because it's deeper than that. That's why we're here. Okay. So if you're not losing sleep, if you're content and good with yourself, then why is it a scenario in which, like, I don't waste time with looking at the catalog of other people outside of the good guys that I know. It's real simple. Either we have a good relationship and we can work together, or we just don't have a relationship at all. I'm not looking to have bad relationships, and it's a waste of my time at this point, because you'll always find yourself seeking out the issue with those people that you find are perps. Now, you clearly said that you don't lose any sleep. You don't have any issues with those guys. You're just saying that they're putting the spotlight on everybody else, and you feel some unauthorized obligation to shine it back on them. And it's really not effective.
Excuse me. Just let me interrupt for a second. You've used the word unauthorized on several occasions.
Absolutely.
Well, if a man chooses an action, and the action is not illegal, then I don't see how that action is unauthorized.
Much like the scenario in question. If it's not illegal, what we talking about then? If you have the right to criticize something, then that's not illegal. Then why can't they engage in their own business that is legal?
Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to as not illegal. I don't know what you're referring to as not illegal.
Okay. So when you who's claiming to be a pimp and a leader? Who are you talking about?
Well, I'm not in the business of calling people's names.
Okay, so we're gonna play.
It's a question of who the cap fits. Let them wear it.
Okay, so with that cap being placed on the person, what evidence do you have to suggest that there's some type of foul play there? Give me the information that you got. Let's deal with facts now. What information that you have that would suggest that something illegal is going on?
Well, in the hypothetical realm that we're speaking of,
we're dealing in fact.
Well,
Ralphie, we did.
Well, I'm dealing in hypothetics. I'm dealing in hypothetics.
Respect.
So within the hypothetical realm of which we are speaking, then what I'm saying, if you are in the habit of shining the torch on others, you have to accept the torch being shone back upon you.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine, but it still makes it irrelevant, and it still makes it just you minding someone else's business for no apparent reason outside of the fact that it is your right. But if that's the case, and I agree with that, don't get it twisted. You can make all the videos you want, hashtag LDBC and that shit all day. That's on you. But I can't accept that from you, and then you're gonna tell me that what they're doing, them two consenting adults, are doing something that is illegal when what they're doing is perfectly legal.
I am not sure about the legality of the topic matter. That would vary. That would vary from you muted.
You could do porn, you can do all of those things, you know that, and I know that. We're not talking about a guy who got who's featured on Pimps Ups Hoes Down. This is not that kind of track running. We're talking about two consenting adults that may or may not have web pages, and if you subscribe to their stuff, you could do that. It's strippers out here that's stripping. I hate strip clubs. I can't fathom going into a space to give girls money for me to look at them in their ass. That's just not me. I can't fathom paying a female money, for sex, but I understand that it is a situation that happens. And I can't tag pimping or prostitution on the scenario that they may have. And you can't either because you don't have no proof. Are you a qualified investigator and policeman within the United States or within the state of Milwaukee? I'm sorry, Wisconsin, in the city of Milwaukee?
I have been very careful not to mention any names and not to personalize this issue.
No, it's on me. I'm doing it. They know who it is. It's me, Coach K Zone 6. Shout out to the LDBC and 7. So I got you. I got you covered. Don't worry about it. So
all right. So my position is
One quick. Go ahead. You got it. I'm just asking you, are you qualified as a policeman in the state of Wisconsin or in the city of Milwaukee to make that qualification or that claim that you're making? Or are you qualified to do that?
Okay, so I don't know the relevance of the state of Milwaukee or the other place you mentioned. I don't know the
state. That's a state within the United States. You're not qualified.
I don't know the relevance of you mentioning those particular locations, because as I reiterate, I am talking about the principle. Now, on principle, I've told you my position. On principle, I've told you my position on the matter of a man coercing. No, I'm not even gonna say coercing. Okay, so I'm not gonna go that route. I'm not gonna go that route. Okay. So allow me, if you will, to finish.
All right.
So I've told you my position on such matters in principle. And you ask, am I qualified? I am qualified to state my opinion. Everyone is qualified to state their opinion.
Do opinion equate to fact?
An opinion may or may not be a fact. So I repeat, an opinion may or may not be a fact. Now, what we do on here, what we're doing now is we are discussing.
Absolutely.
We are having a discussion.
It's a great conversation, by the way. I really like this.
It is a great conversation. I didn't know which way you were going to come, but it's good to see that you've come respectfully.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure you will say that I have also.
Absolutely.
Okay. Right. So you know my position. You know my position is based upon my moral standpoint, my perspective, my point of view. I am not representing a constituents. I was not voted into Parliament or Congress. You stated already that most of the people on here are grown adults. Therefore, most of the people on here will know that what it is a number of men, last night, a number of men discussing their opinions, standpoints, perspectives, points of view. Everyone is authorized to do so. When you ask me about my qualifications, my qualifications are as a grown man. Now, let me address the issue or the question of getting into another man's business. Absolutely not. I have been clear that I am not getting into another man's business. I am speaking in hypotheticals. Everyone is also entitled to do that. So it boils down to a matter of perspective. I have spoke of my perspective. You have spoke of your perspective, which you are authorized to do. You authorize yourself to do that. You authorize yourself to speak. You don't need a higher power to express your opinion. But ultimately, before we open up for other people to come in, ultimately, my ultimate statement is this: when you shine a light of scrutiny upon others, when you are so opinionated upon others, daily, by the minute, by the second, by the hour, in videos, you cannot complain if someone says, hold up a minute, hold up, wait a minute, let's take a look at you. And that's my position. We're going to open up the lines in short.
Go ahead, let's go. We can open up lines right now.
Okay, do you want to come back on? Do you want to rebut what I just said, though?
Well, it's pretty much a done deal. Anybody that's listening to what I'm saying, you pretty much said you're not qualified. You said that it's an opinion and you have the right, because of freedom of speech, to give your opinion. You don't have any facts to back up your claims. And we discussed.
I've made no claims. I've made no claims.
No, your claim is your opinion. Everybody heard. I don't want to repeat the whole thing, but everybody is smart enough to comprehend what your opinion is. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I can't put that or tag that on somebody specifically or generally until I have the proper evidence, or am I even qualified to pursue that? So I can't do that. That's me.
That's why I've been very careful not to mention anyone. I'm talking in hypotheticals, and I'm talking about in principle.
But the problem is with the hypothetical and the principle, you're absolutely right. But the complete contradiction is the fact that you got the hashtag of LDBC on your video, the video that me and you're doing. Okay.
So the LDBC is tagged because hypothetically they may fall into the category of a group who, by the minute, by the second, by the hour, offer scrutiny upon others and are disparaging upon others and are scornful upon others. So if you fall into that category, I'm afraid to say at some point, a person or persons is going to potentially, hypothetically, turn the spotlight back on you. And
that's a body, but we'll leave it there and open up the lines.
Yes.
Because no logical, no real man, not to suggest that you're not. No real man would insinuate or plug another group's hashtag in his video and talk around it. I would talk through it. If I had an issue with the LDBC or Ralphie, I would hashtag it and explain thoroughly what the issue is. I wouldn't circle talk around it. But I understand it's your opinion and it's just based on how you build. I get it.
Well, you could say it's how I'm built, or you could say it's my knowledge and my understanding and my maturity that enables me to speak in such a manner.
Listen, however you want to frame your coffin, you can do it. So let's open up the lines.
Frame my coffin?
Right.
My coffin. Could you care to expand on that? My coffin.
Now let's open up the lines. So
no. I would like to hear. I'm going to open up the lines, but I'd like you to explain my coffin. What are you suggesting is my coffin?
The coffin in the body comes in when you want to insinuate things, but you have the hashtag of the very group that you're implying things about. And that don't have to be explained. Anybody who's listening to this and can see me on this camera know that makes complete sense. Anybody that disagrees with that, I respect it. So let's open up the lines.
Okay, so I'll respond to that before I open up the lines. My position is coming from a position of maturity, and ultimately, who the cap fits, who the coffin fits, let them wear it or occupy it. That's my position on that. And with that, we shall open up the lines. Okay, there's people who want to get in. And there is the link. So ultimately what I'm saying is who the cap fit, let them wear it. And if it don't fit, then don't put it on.
So why is LDBC hashtag in the video?
It's pretty clear, my friend, why the LDBC is hashtag in the video, because that was the conversation last night, and this is a follow-on conversation.
Well, I was talking about leadership and politics, what we discussed. I wasn't talking about the LDBC. You hashtag LDBC in here, and I'm highlighting that or quote unquote calling you out about that.
Well,
in principle, you're a man of principle. So I'm calling you out in principle, OG.
Well, what I'm saying is that the hashtag is there because that's what we were talking about last night. So that's
not what I was talking about. But since you put it there in my video that I'm in with you, and I respect you, I'm going to respect them the same way.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to disrespect anybody. It's merely a spotlight. The spotlight is roamed around, and now perhaps it's turned back on them. I don't have a problem in saying that they are involved in this thing potentially because the spotlight may be turned back on them. Okay, so we have Jalik, the leader, and Phil Walker. Phil Walker, lead out. How do you do?
Yo, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's poppin'?
Cool in the gang.
Look, check this out, man. First of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I just was in there myself. I want to give a shout out to Rafi, and I also want to give a shout out to Coach K. You guys are having a great conversation, man. I couldn't wait to get in on this.
100.
All right, yeah, I mean, so I'm not going to say I have completely different perspectives than
my sister, they're my little sister. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to say I have a completely different perspective than both of you guys. I actually get exactly what both of you guys are saying. So, I'm coming in just giving my opinions about it because I think you guys both make great points. But I have to include my own personal understanding of how these things work. If you get my drift. I mean, so to me, you know, I kind of took the conversation, you know, we're talking about leaders and stuff like that. Well, the first thing when I think about a leader, you know, leaders lead people who follow them, right? That's the first thing, right? Most of the time, majority of the time, leaders are chosen. You understand what I'm saying? So you have a group of people that choose an individual to be their leader. That's why they follow, right? So that's kind of how I think about um the leadership role, right? So, you know, when you have these people that follow you, then you form what is considered to be a community, right? So the community I'm assuming that we're addressing is the LDBC. You understand what I'm saying? In pertaining to this conversation. So you got to think about it like this right here. Okay. I don't think this is necessarily a conversation about like pimps or anything like that. I think this is more so who you choose to follow. Who do you choose to be your leader? You know what I'm saying? This is kind of how I'm taking the conversation in. So I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with pimp. I just think it has a lot to do with as far as where your morals are. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm gonna go back to this point of morals in a second. Okay. I mean, so it was mentioned in the chat that I'm not in the chat, but in the conversations between Ralphie and Coach that you know, these guys, you know, heavily scrutinize other individuals and other groups. Well, okay, let's really think about that, right? So if you believe that the leadership role of this particular group, which is the LDBC, okay, you feel as though they shine a spotlight on other individuals and other groups and they scrutinize them. But in the same sentence, you say that these guys are morally delusional, then what it sounds like, what do you expect? Right? You got to tell yourself, what do you expect? So you think these guys are morally delusional, okay? Or they don't see the same kind of morals that you see. And then at the same time, you say, okay, they want to point the finger and scrutinize other ones, other people or other groups, then to me, that sounds about right based on your morals. If anybody can understand what I'm saying.
Say
okay?
that again, Phil,
So,
that last bit.
I understand completely.
So this is what I'm saying right here. So morally, okay? Morally, you have a group of people, right, that follow one individual. We're talking about the LDBC, right? And we all know that Big 7-8 is the person that is spearheading that particular group. Okay. Now, you're saying, okay, because it was said that this particular group shines a spotlight on other groups, other individuals, okay, and they heavily scrutinize these groups and these individuals. Now, morally, this group or that particular leader does not line up to what you see fit as a morally good person. Okay. So if you don't see this person as a morally good individual in 78 or the LDBC, and in the same sentence, you say they scrutinize other individuals, then it makes sense. It makes completely sense. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't think they're good and they do bad things, then morally, that's what you believe. So you can't have it both ways, is what I'm saying. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, when I look at it right here, it's a matter of not so much shining the spotlight on different opinions. Like at the end of the day, it's just difference of opinions. You know, I mean, at the same time, these guys may think you're morally corrupt because you don't see eye to eye with them.
Indeed.
They don't care about what an outside person in their community thinks about their community.
Nor should they.
Because in their community, it seems as though everything is being ran properly in their community. They feel as though they have the right person leading them, you know. So an outside influence to them is just exactly that. It's just an outside influence. You know, you got to think about this right here. And the reason why I say I agree with both of y'all, so the point I just proved, the point that I just mentioned is more so aligned with Coach's perspective. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I do have a different perspective on this right here, okay? Which is going to align with Ralphie's perspective. Now, when you talk about morally being right, all right, you got to think about just everything that's going on in the world in general. Now, I will say this: I am a proud American. My daddy served nearly 30 years in the military. Okay, this is the real right here. Throughout history, and I'm gonna just name off a couple of different, dictators throughout history. You got Hitler, you got Castro, you got Gaddafi, you got Bin Laden. A lot of this stuff right here, a lot of these leaders that I just named, they had a heavy following. People would die, kill, and still lay their life on the line for these guys. Okay? Now, morally, these people following these individuals felt as though they were doing the right things. Okay? They felt as though that it doesn't matter what any outside influence says about my leader, about my perspective. I'm following him because this is something that I've chosen to do. Now, morally, the things that was occurring from these particular groups, leaders, countries, however you want to put it, was clearly bad. Okay? In some sense, it was majority of the other parts of the world felt as though they were doing something that was bad. Now, politically, in America can say, okay, what's going on over there is none of our business. Okay? But morally, America said, nah, this is something that we need to get involved in. You understand what I'm saying? So hence, okay, everybody knows what happened to these guys that we just named. They're just a part of history now. That regime, that style of leadership, that dictatorship was essentially not wiped off the face of the earth, but it was rectified for a moment, because morally the United States got involved in a lot of these things that first and foremost wasn't none of their business, but morally they felt obligated to do so, which I think that's more so what Ralph is talking about. Okay, so my point is this right here: if these guys choose to want to be their leader, that's their particular business. Okay, that's their business. That has nothing to do with what we have going on right here in this particular conversation. Okay, those guys don't care about us talking about this. Those guys are focused on what they need to be focused on. Okay, so for me, if I think somebody's morally doing something wrong and it's not affecting my everyday life and it's not affecting the world spectrum as I see it, then I'm gonna just leave it alone. It's kind of one of them things. If it's for you, then mess with it. If it's not, then just ignore it. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so, Phil. Okay, Phil. So, I think you've rounded up that nice. We're gonna come back to you. And I just want to add, Rafi ain't losing no sleep. It's just that if the spotlight is being spun around, then we got to spin it everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna go to Jalik, the leader, and then to John D. Lee. Welcome in, Jalik, the leader.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Shout out to the panel, Coach Phil and John Daly. This is an interesting topic because I was listening to the topic. Now, I'm the type person. I'm gonna just give you my opinion on certain things, because I'm the type of person that if I don't like something, then I'm just not gonna watch it. Like, I'm not gonna watch it. So if it kind of baffles me that, because I'm not LDBC, I'm not with no group. I'm like, okay, if you don't like them, why do you always bring them up though? So it's like, is it? I don't understand the fascination. It's like,
well, you could apply that to the LDB. Well, you could apply that to others themselves. If I don't like something, why bring it up or carry on?
Yeah, like I get it. It's like, are you using a group to build up your marketing plan? Are you anti something? So, because it's a difference between being anti something and pro something else. It's anti something and pro something else. A lot of people may look at it as the same way. So if a person is, say for instance, anti LDBC, so what are you pro at? Are you just gonna make LDBC videos all day? Because then it gets into the point where it's like, okay, you're fascinated with the LDBC. What are you building up to create your own?
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm just talking about period. Does it apply to you? Do you feel like you do a lot of LDBC videos?
Do I do a lot of LDBC videos? Let me just go. Let me just go into my. Let me just go into my my videos here.
I'm just speaking on it.
let me go into my video. I'm gonna come back to you, bro. I'm gonna come back to you.
So you got okay? Because I
might check. I had to take care of some football stuff we got planned at 3:30, man, for the team. But what did anybody call on me or speak on me?
No.
But y'all keep cooking.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna come back to you, Jalik. I'm gonna come back to you. So this video is obviously Vice's leadership and community, featuring Coach K. The previous video was questioned: are the LDBC losing their shizzle because Tyson Fury is white? So really, is that about the LDBC or is that about Tyson Fury? You could say both. The previous one to that is titled Tyson Fury's trainer Sugar Hill disrespected on barbershop conversations. So that's about Sugar Hill being disrespected on barbershop conversations.
Is the one before part of the LDBC?
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I know. Okay, so that's not LDBC. Okay, then Jarrell Miller to be back by January 2022. That's not LDBC. Alexander Usyk offers the previous one. Alexander. No, hold on, I want to come back to you, bro. Alexander Usyk offers Deontay Wilder a route back to the title contentionship. The previous. No, hold on. Let me just give you two more. The previous two. The uncommon truth. Hold on. The uncomfortable truth. Tyson Fury, Errol Spence. And who was the other cat? Anthony Yard. That's not LDBC. Previous to that, Anthony Yard speaks on decision to split or not split with Tunde Ajayi. Previous to that, Eddie Hearn tells Teofimo Lopez only legends allowed backstage. Previous to that, Spence ducks Crawford. Previous to that, Tyson Fury is Ring Magazine co-fighter of the year. So if there was any suggestion that was leveled at me, I hope I've dispelled.
I'm just speaking in general. Like if you're doing it because you got a good channel, whatever you doing that's pro, then that just balance it out. So a lot of times it can come across. I'm just speaking what the facts is. I'm not on nobody's side. I got my own channel. I'm not with a group. If, for instance, if every video a person comes out with is say anti something else, it makes it appear as if you're chasing clout and you're not being creative. I'm gonna use an example. If you're a rapper, and instead of creating songs and building up songs, you do anti Drake videos or you do anti J. Cole videos, it makes you just put you in the lane as a battle rapper, and is not as creative as just creating your own lane. That's kind of how it looks. That's just what I'm saying. A lot of people won't say that, and a lot of people might say, I'm not taking nobody's side. I'm not on nobody's side. I'm not in a group. I'm not a person that really be in group. I'm cool with people in a group, but I'm not the type person that can be in a group. Now, everybody, the same people you meet going up is the same people you meet going down. A lot of us, including myself, is flawed in a lot of different areas. So it's up to you if you want to focus on other people's flaws or you want to focus on your own. So everybody has their own free will. Everybody deserves to express themselves fully. So if you want to do your videos on how you want to do your videos, then do your videos on how you want to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not a person I'm not into being censored. I'm not into that. But I'm just saying that everybody, if they tap into what they do, they should be able to bring something creative into the game. Because the thing about it is, say if you are anti-LDBC, right? What happens if LDBC decides to go off YouTube? What other videos are you going to come up with then? Where is your inspiration going to come up from? It's just like a battle rapper. So if Drake retired and you doing all diss videos at Drake and Drake retired, what are you going to still make diss videos at Drake? So that's the challenge on there. But I understand the business of YouTube, and it's a small community. The thing about what's going on now too, it'd be a lot of beasts over boxers. Like, I'm like, bro, these guys is just regular people. Like, I don't worship none of these guys. They just regular. So if in life, if you got a problem with somebody, like, you just handle it, I guess. But me personally, I'm the type person that I don't down nobody to build myself up. I don't ever do that. Like, I personally don't do that. Like, I don't do that. And one thing about me, I don't get jealous over people. Like, I wish everybody the best. That's all I'm saying on that one. But you do good stuff though, Ralph. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not in that category which you just mentioned. I'll just clarify that with the videos that I've brought up. Those are all the videos that I've done recently, back to back to back to back. And you can see it is not an LDBC based channel. But I hear what you're saying. That does apply to other people. So I hear that, but it certainly ain't me. John D. Lee.
So when it comes down to turning scrutiny on people, if people are putting out a false narrative or a skewed perspective, and that goes unchallenged, the only perspective out there is a false narrative. So as an example, there's a massive narrative at the moment that Spence is the A side over Crawford, so therefore Crawford should take what is offered, and that's a reason for us to not have the fight that we want to have in the welterweight division. Now, if you're genuinely interested in the sport of boxing, the biggest problem with boxing at the moment is we're not getting the fights that we want. And a large part of the narratives and people that seem to have agendas other than having the best fights happen. And if it just all goes unchallenged, then we're going to stay in the status quo. I want to see the best fighters fight the best people. I want to see Crawford and Spence fight, so that we can see who the better welterweight is. I don't care who wins, but I get frustrated when we're hearing that Spence is this massive A-side, and so 60-40 or 70-30 is fine, from the same people that thought it was a disgrace that Anthony Joshua was offering Deontay Wilder 60-40, so that was a reason for that fight to not happen. So we didn't get that fight because there was no pressure put on anybody to actually make the fight. I kept hearing reasons why the fight shouldn't happen, and that's a good reason to put scrutiny on groups of people that are putting out hypocritical narratives. So that's the first thing. As to Coach K's point about if a woman is the leader, so she engages a male to be her pimp, then that individual is a beta male. He's not a leader. He does as he's told by the woman. She's the leader. So I don't really get where he was going with that point, because if you're in a better position like that, then you're not displaying leadership qualities. If it's a case like Malcolm X that you're a reformed character, then in those cases you may be better qualified for leadership because you have a broader understanding of how the world works. But you've chosen to take a path that puts you in a position where you can be trusted with responsibility, because you've recognized that what you were doing was not the way to behave. You've stopped doing it and you've tried to move forward in a positive way. So that's what I've got to say on those points.
Yeah, so he didn't understand. That's fine. I'm not here to break it down to parade rest. That's your opinion. That's your
all right. Go straight at it then. If you're going to say that, right? You went at great lengths to say that in a situation where prostitution is legal and the woman engages the services of a man for protection, i.e. to be her pimp, in that situation, the woman is the perpetrator. Therefore, she, not the pimp, is the leader. Therefore, that male is a beta male, not an alpha male, and he is not a leader. That's my point. So if that's, I need you to explain it. What I'm saying is you were wrong in what you were saying.
Listen, I'm not here. One thing about me, I'm not here to soothe you into a right position. I can give two fucks because I'm not a beta male.
No. I think you're taking this personally. I'm just saying your statement's right. I think you're getting a bit emotional about it. What I'm trying to say is right? No, but you keep saying you're not here to explain stuff to me, but I don't think you get my point.
Going to have to finish my statement.
The point you were making was incorrect.
Okay, so well, this is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to finish my statement. What I'm saying is, it doesn't. You can have your opinion. I don't care, is what I'm saying, because you as well. That's not what I said. What I said is that in the United States, do you reside in the United States?
UK.
Okay, so he don't know anything about the United States. Have he been to Thailand? Has he been to Rio? Has he been to any other places and spaces that I've been? That's what I need. Before you even qualified to talk to me about this scenario, you have to see and been where I've been. If you haven't, then I understand your limited perspective. That's just what it is.
I've been to Holland, where prostitution is decriminalized. A similar situation. So I think what you're talking about, because technically in Las Vegas, I believe it's decriminalized, not legal, which there is a difference.
So what are we talking about here? If women can make their own choices, because first of all, we need to, I'm not about to continue to have a conversation without women on this panel. I'm not finna talk to a whole bunch of males that's worried about the LDBC. And that's the real stick what we got here.
I don't think anybody's worried about the LDBC.
I know you're not. I know you're not. Hit a dog into the holler.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, right, that the woman is the leader in that scenario, not the man.
Right.
Straightforward. It's a straightforward statement. Yeah, she's the leader, therefore the man in that situation is a beta male, he's a follower, not a leader. That's all I said.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, what I'm trying to tell you is I understand your perspective. I get it. And I understand if you're confused on what I'm saying. I can't make it more plainer than you. I agree with what you're saying. That person could possibly be a beta. But here's the thing about that. What if you and that beta was in a situation and he beat the dog shit out of you? Then I would consider you to be a beta because you got your ass whooped by a beta. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that happened. If that was the situation, then yeah. But the point is, muscle doesn't necessarily make you the leader. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make you the alpha. In the situation you've highlighted, intelligence is what's making that person the alpha, and that's the woman.
Yeah, but
and that's what you said. That's why I don't understand why you're talking about that person being a leader.
No,
and they're the beta. It doesn't make sense.
I'm not talking about. Look, I know on the internet a lot of guys look up alpha male strategies and this alpha omega shit. I'm not talking about alpha males, beta males, and the simp.
I'm just talking. I'm using the term alpha and beta to refer.
No, but what I'm making clear, because a lot of
leader and follower use those terms.
A lot of people.
But intelligence is what's making that person the leader, not muscle. So she controls him. She employs him. She pays him, and he provides a service which is muscle. So therefore, she is the leader, and she uses intelligence to be in charge of him.
Yeah, you know, can I intervene real quick? Because again, this is kind of one of the things.
Let Coach K say what he wants to say, though, Phil, first.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
So what I said was pretty clear in the video. A lot of it was addressed to the specifics of Ralphie. Now, if you want to have a different conversation so I can get your understanding, then we can go into that. But I'm not going to have a conversation where you're picking and poking from what me and Ralph, because I don't know your position. So I agree with you that could be a reality, that a male could be a beta male. But worrying about other people in certain acts, to me, could be considered a beta male action too. So I'm not here to do that. I'm here to comb through the facts and the reality like a grown man and a real leader should do. That's what I'm saying. So I don't even know your position at the field. Maybe you could give me more in-depth understanding on that, because I had to get off the phone, and then me and you could have a conversation.
Phil Walker.
Yeah, you know, that's why I brought it back to how I felt as though the conversation to me personally was about leadership and how people select their leaders and why they select their leaders. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think it's more so to do with the whole prostitution niche. I think this conversation is more about is this leader morally right for the community? Now, when I say the community, I'm talking about the YouTube community as let's just say John Dealey just said, hey, you know, you have to oppose false narratives. So when you're saying you're opposing false narratives, that's saying, okay, this guy is a leader. Let's be honest. He's a force within the YouTube community, right? LDBC presence in the YouTube community is super duper heavy. They have a heavy following without a doubt. So when you sit here and you say you have to oppose false narratives, then yeah, okay. And then you break down the whole leadership role and who's leading these guys that's spearheading the false narratives. And to me, this is how the conversation starts. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what, you know, this guy does in his personal life is his own personal decision. But at the same time, I do agree that you have to oppose the false narrative. I don't think the prostitute thing has anything to do with us talking about the false narratives and how this guy became such a leader within the YouTube community. That's my point. That's what I took from the conversation, not so much the things that you guys are focusing on right now with John Dealey and Coach K was just discussing.
Well, just summarize what you just said there, Phil. Summarize what you just said.
To summarize what I just said, I think that the conversation that Coach K and John Dealey was just having, to me, is out of context of what I think the real conversation should be about. And that's the leadership within the YouTube community. I think this is more so about who is leading and what narrative the leader is pursuing. That's what I think this conversation is more about. Not whether you guys think this guy is morally right or wrong. I just think this conversation is more geared towards, okay, I'm tired of this guy putting a microscope on this person, but at the same time, he's morally wrong, or, you know, he's not a good leader. You understand what I'm saying? Does that sum it up for you?
Yeah. That sums it up.
Okay.
Who was that? Okay, Coach K.
So Phil's talking about something that's for himself. I don't know what that has to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what general and specifically because the LDBC hashtag was in the video. So we talking about leadership, period, across the board. Whether you want to break that down to your scenario, Phil, or John's scenario, or Ralphie. I'm not even. We can stop actually having a conversation about LDBC, period. That's only brought up because he was in this video. So now we can go ahead and start talking about what a leader is to each individual. That we can move on from that. That way,
that was my point. That was my point. It was, you know,
that's exactly what I just said, Coach. I think the conversation is more so about leadership.
Yes,
and we can move on from, you know, this prostitution conversation and all this other stuff. That was my point. I just made.
Yes.
Leadership, because that's what we've been talking about the whole time. We just had specifics. So on that note, I'm trying to figure out what John was saying about leadership, because I didn't hear him. I just came back into the conversation about male, female, and alpha male. And all that.
Okay, so what I was saying about leadership is when you turn scrutiny onto another group who are putting out false narratives, those false narratives need challenging.
Yeah.
So I was given the example that the LDBC are putting out there that Spence is this massive A-side over Crawford, and Crawford should accept the split and offer that allegedly Spence is saying is worth, but they haven't actually made an offer. And that's just a reason for the fight to not happen. And this is the same group who, when Anthony Joshua was putting out offers, actual written offers, that was 60-40 in favour of Anthony Joshua. They said this was terrible and that Wilder shouldn't accept these offers. So that's a hypocritical stance. So when you have a group who clearly show hypocrisy, their leader is not fit for leadership, in my opinion, because they're a hypocrite. But also, more importantly, it's affecting boxing. It's reasons for fights to not happen that everybody wants to see happen. And that's the real issue of why they need challenging, because it's not good for the sport of boxing, for everybody who likes boxing in a broader community. Because I want fights to happen. I want Spence and Crawford to fight. I don't care who wins. I want to see the fight.
Yes. Yes.
Well, look, let me
Yes.
say this one thing about false narratives, right?
Well, let's go to Jalik though, because Jalik hasn't had a turn yet.
Go ahead, Julie.
Being a leader to me is having like an impact. So you can have like as a parent, you naturally the leader of your household, so you're gonna have an impact on your children. And then also whatever position that you hold, even if it's perceived that you're a quote unquote beta, or if you're perceived as you can be a custodian but still be a leader, because outside of work you can have many roles. So being leader overall to me is just having a as much as of a positive impact as possible. But we all know that our energy is not all positive. So even if you have good intentions and you consider yourself positive, the fact that we have negative energy inside of us, we're still going to do things that are negative. I consider myself extremely positive, but I might slip up and do things, but that doesn't overall make me a bad person. So the thing I look at is a person's intentions. Intentions is very big, what you intend to do. A lot of people intentionally, as a leader, goal is to keep you on a level of like of a slave. We see this in politics. We see this in households and in relationships. Take a guy, for instance, right? Even if you're not don't consider yourself a pimp, some guys believe, they've been programmed to believe that they're superior to women, right? So instead of putting their women in the best position to prosper, they may be jealous and they have this big illusion that women is not supposed to know their pace. They have to cook and clean. They have to do this. So what are you actually doing for your woman if you just putting a box in front of your woman based on your own ignorance? So leadership comes in different packages. That's why I'm always big on just checking your own self and worrying about yourself. And at the same time, if you want to speak out, go ahead and do it. But we know that a lot of people that appears to be great leaders are not. They're dictators. And I don't want to get too far off ahead of it, but when you do your research and look past the surface, what appears to be one way is not that one way. And a lot of it is being revealed with this COVID, different things and all these different mandates they have on us. They're appearing that they're leaders, but it's obvious that they want a lot the natural humanity to be on a slave type level. So being a leader is being as positive as possible and just having a good intentions and being able to, like in a world of alchemy. I'm sure y'all familiar with this.
Yeah, yeah.
In the world of alchemy, you take negative things and make them positive, and you take positive things, but they use metaphors based on turning certain things into gold. But it's basically changing your situation. For instance, if you get fired from a job, a leader is able to say, you know what, hold themselves accountable and reverse it. So it's levels to energy and levels to positive thinking and all types of things. But your intentions is very, very important. And for anybody out there, nobody is like, a lot of people suffer from like celebrity worship syndrome. Niggas is fighting over boxers, but come on, bro. They not our superior. The same force that the same force that created Michael Jordan and all these people created us. So these guys that you see on TV is just regular people. That's it. So it's no hierarchy. Like what we can speak whatever we want as long as it's respectful. But being a leader is different levels to it. And always look at a person's intentions, and nobody is superior to you. And I highly recommend, if you do have an inferiority complex, you cleanse yourself out, because a person that has a strong personality can easily manipulate a person that has a weaker personality. And that's why you see people that are super evil still have a big following, because they don't understand what's going on. But that's all I got to say on that.
Okay. Ralph, is it cool if I go, or you want to put somebody else in rotation?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, well, so I got two different points I want to make, right? So the first point is to John, the JD's point is that you speak about the false narratives, right? Well, I mean, narratives is all about perception, right? How do you take what this guy is saying and how do you perceive it? How do you see it? I think a lot of times these guys are speaking things that they actually believe. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, we may feel as though it's a false narrative, but to them, they may be actually speaking something that is true to them, that is close to them. So I mean, at the end of the day,
I want to come in. I want to come in after you, Phil. Then John.
Okay, yeah. So to them, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, we may feel like they're speaking false narratives, but they may feel like they're speaking what their truth is. Now, it's a lot different because now you got a whole community screaming the same thing versus just one individual channel. So yeah, it may illuminate more, but at the same time, these guys may feel as though that their beliefs, whatever it is, that the situation that they're looking at is right in the way that they see it. Now, you want to talk about the whole leader thing, right? So again, leaders are absolutely 110% the kind of guys that have a good niche for making people believe what it is that they're selling. You know what I'm saying? You know, people buy what they're selling. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, it depends on what you're leading. You understand what I'm saying? Different leaders need to take different approaches to different stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are buying what the leader is selling, and that's what creates a leader. It's not necessarily the actions that you take. You understand what I'm saying? Because we can all see somebody take terrible and horrible actions, but at the end of the day, if people are buying into those actions, then to them, he's a great leader. I mean, so at the end of the day, man, I don't really want to get too much into it because, you know, you can be a leader of many things. You understand what I'm saying? And all leaders' jobs require different things. So I'm not going to get into that. I just know that this guy was selected to be the leader or is selected to be the leader in whatever scenario we're talking about, whether it's the free world, the United States, and anyone that has, you know, a political where their leaders are elected. You're selected. Ultimately, people are buying what you're selling. So whether somebody thinks that you're good or bad is just all a matter of perspective. And that's just why I'm at with it.
Okay, so let me come in there. Thanks, Phil. I'm going to come in then. John Dealey and Coach K hasn't had a chance to say anything for a while. So after John, it's Coach K. Okay, so my perspective is I think it's premeditated. I think it's premeditated misinformation from the I didn't even want to. Yeah, okay. Coach K made a good point. He said when I put the LDBC in there, it's a fair point. It's a fair observation. Perhaps I shouldn't have done it. I think I'm probably going to take it out, but it's a fair observation. Okay, I'm going to take it out. But since the conversation has moved in that way, and I must bear partial responsibility for it because I did put the LDBC in there. But in another sense, I guess we are talking about them. So you make up your own mind. But since we're talking about them, I think they are the architect of false narratives. Yeah, so let me just say that. And let me leave it in there because they're part of it. So I don't know. It's 50-50. You make your own mind up whether it should be in or should be out. I'm not sure. But we're talking about them, so perhaps it's appropriate that it stays in. Okay, let it be. Let's talk about them then. Since it's in there, we can talk about them. I think the LDBC are architects of false narratives. They delude the people, so that's leadership again. We're talking going back to leadership. They delude the people. They delude their people, and it becomes a case of the king's clothes. I don't know if you guys in America are familiar with the old story, the old children's story of the king's clothes. Sorry, who?
What's the king's clothes? I never heard of that.
You never heard it. I'm gonna go into it then. The king's clothes. The king's clothes. The king's clothes. I think it's Hans Christian Andersen, some European guy, popular children's books writer, and etc. He wrote the story of the king's clothes. Now, as briefly as possible, I'm going to give myself a time limit of 1 minute to explain this to people who don't know. Okay, the king's clothes goes like this. Okay, there were some con men. That's appropriate. There were some con men who visited a king, and they said, "Sir, we have the finest the finest materials. We have the finest materials, the finest threads made out of the finest of the world, in the world. And we see you fit. Only a man as fine as you should wear these threads. Okay. So he said he's interested. Okay. So he measured them up. They measured him up to fit. They were going to make the finest gown for him, the finest clothes. And they measured him up. They said, well, come to, he said, well, I need to see your establishment. I need to see your establishment. Where are these threads? Let me come to where you are. I'm paraphrasing. So they said, there's one thing, sir. Only the people of the highest esteem can actually see the material. So he said, okay. Only the highest people and people with the highest esteem. So they take him to a warehouse. They take him to a warehouse where there is no material. There are machines. The machines are spinning, but there's no material on the machines. And they say, see, sir, these are the finest threads known to man, but only the people of the highest caliber can see these threads. So he thinks to himself, well, if I don't see these threads, then that means I'm not of the highest caliber. So he says, yes, I see them. And they hand him some of the material. And they say, look how light and magnificent this material is. And he says, oh, my goodness, yes, this material, look how soft it is. And he's nothing in his hand. And then the people with the king, his courtiers, they say, they think to themselves, well, oh, my God, if I don't see these materials, if I can't see this material, then that means I'm not of the highest esteem. So everybody goes along with it. Yes, these are the finest threads known to man. And they measure him up. And he said, yes, I commission you to make my next gown. So they measure him up. And they said, sir, this will be with you within 1 week. And the king had a parade that he had to go on. So he had to have the finest threads. Okay, long story short, they make the material, they make his gown out of this non-existent material. It's a con job. They are con men. And they bring him in and they fit him up with this material which does not exist. And all his courtiers, they say, that is the most magnificent gown that I have ever seen, king. And he agrees with them. And he pays these people a princely sum or a kingly sum. And so the day of the parade comes. And he goes out and the people line the streets to see the king because they've been told about the finest threads. They've been told about these threads. So the day of the parade comes and he goes in his chariots and he stands up in his chariot as he rides through the streets. And everybody says, oh, my goodness, the king has never looked so resplendent. The Emperor's New Clothes is the name of it. Yes, okay. The king or the emperor has never looked so resplendent. And he rides through the town and everybody's going along with the con job because they don't want to look silly. And eventually it comes to an end when a child shouts out, the king's got no clothes. And with that, with the spotlight shone on the truth, everybody bursts out laughing. The king has no clothes. And that is the tale. That is the fable of the king's new clothes. Okay. So
Rafi, can I jump in for just a second?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I missed you out altogether. You're after me. Sorry. I missed you out altogether. You're too quiet. You're after me. Then, okay. So, and then that is the parable of the king's new clothes. Okay. So what am I saying? I'm responding to Phil. I'm saying they are the architect of false narratives. I say, I don't believe that they believe what they say. They are the creators of false narratives. They are the creators of hate. They stimulate hate. They generate hate. And sorry to say, but they, in my humble opinion, are con men. Sorry, Fight Doctor. I totally missed you. Over to you.
Yeah. So did you guys go to the circus when you were little? Yeah. I remember going to the circus when I was little, right?
Yes.
And the number one attraction at the circus, in my mind at least, the number one attraction was always the clown, right? The clown. And so what does a clown do? A clown dresses up in all these bright colors and, everything is exaggerated. The clown has a big nose. The clown has big shoes. The clown has big, ridiculous hair. The clown has these big, ridiculous clothes on that don't fit. right? And is all the purpose of the clown is to draw as much attention to himself or herself, right? To entertain the crowd. And what do we do when we look at a clown? What do? We point and we laugh. Look at the clown and his antics, right? The clown's purpose is to entertain, and the clown does that by being as ridiculous as humanly possible. That's the clown. Can we all agree on this?
Yep, carry on.
A clown and a pimp have a lot in common. When you look at a pimp and how he dresses or how she dresses, it's always exaggerated. Expensive fur coats, big hats, glasses that are ridiculous, shoes that are ridiculous, outfits that are ridiculous, and all these bright colors. And the whole purpose of the pimp and his dress or her dress is to draw attention to his or herself and to entertain. That is a pimp. A pimp and a clown have a lot in common.
The pimp and the clown have a lot in common.
They have a lot in common.
I apologize, Fight Doctor. You was there all the time, and I just totally skipped. I forgot you were there. John D.
Yeah, no worries.
John D. Lee, and then Coach K.
But no, real quick. I just want to finish real quick. I'm not done yet.
Sorry, carry on.
So when you see a clown, you're going to point the finger, you're going to laugh, and then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to talk about the clown and his clown or her clownish ways.
Antics.
Exactly. When I was little, when you went to school, if you looked like a clown when you went to school, people talked about you. You got talked about. And it seems to me that if you're going to carry on like a clown, if you're going to wear the clown uniform, and if you're going to call yourself a clown, then the expectation is that you should get talked about. You should expect to get talked about as if you are a clown, if you are conducting yourself as such, if you are wearing a clown's uniform, and if you are talking like a clown. I see no reason why you should not be pointed out and talked about as the clown that you are. So when you have people who are calling themselves pimps, take that word pimp and change it to clown, because in reality, that's who and what they are. And a clown needs to be talked about, identified, and talked about. And I see no reason why the thinking community, all right, the people who are woke, the people who are using their gray matter, I see no reason why the conscious thinking community should not identify the clowns among them.
Yes, 100%. I understand what you're saying, and that is where I am at. John D. Lee, then Coach K.
Yo, you're giving fur coats a bad name, Fight Doctor. I don't appreciate it.
So we've also
John D. Lee.
So we're also talking about why we should scrutinize other groups. So I'm going to use examples.
You're a bit muffled, John. Bit muffled.
So there's a wider YouTube boxing community. Is that better, Rafi?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a wider boxing community. There's a wider boxing community beyond the LDBC. So this could be similar to, say, the whole of the UK population that's currently led by Boris Johnson, who's the leader of the Tory party. A large part of the population are not in favour of what he does, and they are affected by what he does. So they should still have the right to scrutinise what this leader has done who they haven't chosen, because what they do affects them. So putting out false narratives, and they are false narratives in the point of view that they're inconsistent as a minimum. They're call them hypocritical narratives. If it's okay for Errol Spence to be the A side and offer another fighter a smaller percentage of the purse who's also a world champion, then it would have been consistent to say the same about Deontay Wilder. But it would appear these are just reasons for fights to not happen. As a fan of boxing, I want the best fights to happen. So when there's a group who are led by individuals who are doing things that I think are harmful to the wider community, I think it's right that they are scrutinized.
Yes.
So it's the same situation. I didn't choose Boris Johnson to be my leader. He's the leader of the Tory party and he's the leader of the UK political system. I don't agree what he says, and I take ways to oppose what he's doing. That's the right and proper thing to do. The LDBC are not some isolated group that have no impact on the YouTube community as a whole. They have a big impact. So for that reason, it is right that we scrutinize them. If you care about boxing and you want the best fights to happen and you see reasons why they're not happening, you shouldn't just be quiet about it. So it's right to scrutinize them.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yes. 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 Brilliantly put. Brilliantly put. Coach K, it's been a while. Please come in.
Yeah. Listen, again, I support everybody upbringing and philosophies and principles on what should and shouldn't be said. But again, I guess probably for me, because I operate in a different space, that's why I created my channel in the pit for debates and conversations and discussions. So if there's something that I disagree with, and we had 78 Sports TV on my channel here recently, and me and Phil Walker was there. So maybe it's different for us. I like to keep the lines of communication open for these kind of conversations. It's no need to really take a disrespectful approach or a questionable approach from the other side. I just believe in being able to civilize ourselves down and have a conversation like men, or debate it out like men, either in single format or doubles format. That's why I created the pit, and I got the 2 belts and the other belt for the champion. Shout out to Get the Smoke, who's the current champion. And that's what we do. So I'm more of a problem solver. Everybody wants the solution to the problem, but nobody wants to solve the problem. Everybody wants to wear the crown, but nobody wants to defend the throne. So I'm big on both. Yes, yes, criticize. Yeah, wear your crown. But remember, you got to defend that throne. And that's where we get shaky at. So again, if there's something to be stated from the LDBC that I don't agree with, then I invite them guys over, or that guy over, or that gal over, and then we can talk it out and have a conversation.
Sorry, let me interrupt you because there's a slight interruption. I'll get straight back to you. You don't realize, you wouldn't realize, but I have interacted with the fellows we're talking about. I have been on their channels and I've invited them over to my channel. They have agreed to come over, and then at the 11th hour, not come over. So what you're saying is something that I practice over here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. But the arrangement has not been reciprocal. So it's not for a lack of trying. I'm not here to spread division. I'm here to close the distance. I'm here to kind of get some truth and get some kind of accord. But like I said, the invitations were not accepted. On one occasion, the invitation was accepted, but there was someone thwarted it. Someone thwarted it from this side. Somebody, I modded someone temporarily just in case things got busy, and he ejected, well, let's say his name, Cali Enigma. Cali Enigma came over and someone ejected him. But that wasn't from anybody hardcore over here. That was a temporary mod situation. So what you're talking about is actually something that I practice. Back to you.
Yeah, and like you said, in practice, we actually apply things. So you practice and we make sure we apply it, which we have. And 7-8 was on the channel. And we had difference of opinion. It was a great conversation about Wilder. And it was a chance for him to speak his piece on Wilder. Me and the other guys who had difference of opinions had difference of opinions. Some of the guys agreed. It was a fluid, smooth conversation. I only got the videos on private right now currently at this moment because I want to highlight the music part of my channel and what I do. And that's the example of what I'm saying. When it comes to leadership, you have to afford everybody a equal opportunity to present themselves in the best manner that they can. If they fail, it will be on a stage that can be looked at as evidence. If you fall on your own sword, you fall on your own sword. If you need to train and get better and you need help, then you need to ask for that. If you don't ask for that, you can't get help. Okay, but as a leader, you have to provide those tools if you can within your within your ability, depending on what it is. Whether it's the military, you got to provide those tools. Whether it's on a job, provide those tools. Whether you're a father or brother, provide those tools when you are in a leadership position. Same thing with the United States government. A lot of people are making rules and laws based on what they want for other people, and opinions based on what they want from other people. I'm just not a subscriber to that. I like everybody's opinions. I like everybody's thoughts. I don't have to embody anything that you think. As far as the circus, that was a good analogy. I remember being very clear on the circus with my mom when she first told me. I said, I don't think anything's cool about going to the circus because I don't want to see no fat ass elephants. I don't want to see no fucking lions in a cage. I don't want to see no stinking. I don't want to be there. It stinks. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the peanuts. I don't want to be there. So I had an understanding of a circus at a young age and that it wasn't for me. So if there's a circus out there, I don't buy a ticket to it.
Okay, so that was the Coach K, and I'll just remind people before we go to Ross Clark, I'd just like to remind people, if you have been enjoying the show, enjoying the content, enjoying the open discussion from people on all parts of the political spectrum, then I hope you've smashed the like button, and if not, please do so. I hope you've smashed the subscribe button, and if not, please do so. And absolutely, please share this video on all your social media platforms. And just to clarify, yes, I have interacted with these guys. This ain't about hate. This is merely looking at the situation, turning the spotlight around. You can't have the spotlight just shining outwards. Sometimes you have to change direction. Everybody can get looked at. Okay, so Ross Clark, good to have you up in the building. How do you do?
I'm good. Happy New Year, everybody. So I take it that the topic is about the LDBC.
Well, not really. It's about leadership. It's about leadership, fit for leadership, appropriate leadership, good leadership. Are you fit for leadership? But yeah, like they are in the thumbnail, so yeah, you can say they are part of it. Yes.
Just because I noticed like a lot of the things that's been going on in the YTBC, and I know that the LDBC is very huge in the YTBC, and they get talked about a lot. Now, I'm not a real fan of the LDBC from the histories from when they first started, not when Zone 6 started it, but when Zone 6 left, because with the whole calling people coons and just when you disagree with them, you a coon and all this other stuff, I kind of shied away from LDBC. But what I did notice while the LDBC was on the rise, there was also a reverse LDBC that a lot of people don't talk about. There's a whole clan, and I use that and no pun intended, but there's a whole clan of channels out there that is the exact opposite of the LDBC. And I don't hear too many videos. There's only a few that talk about these guys that they make racist videos that happen to be offensive to Black people. People who make videos about comparing Black people to monkeys. There's one guy who made a video talking about European genetics and how their genetics is stronger than Africans. Like, these are clear-cut racist videos. And I can tell you right now, as much as I'm not a fan of LDBC, I've never seen no video like that where they're comparing Black people to Europeans. Like, it's never happened. I just want to know how come the community as a whole don't talk about those guys, because I've talked about those guys, which I call reverse Lomachenko. It's just, oh, there was Rob. anytime a European fighter fights a black fighter, oh, he was robbed. Like, come on, let's not just talk about the LDBC. And like I said, in no way am I a fan of the LDBC, but it is offensive when you hear non-black channels talking about black people, and you're like, wait a minute, I just had a conversation with you the other day. You was cool, but now I hear you making a video talking about monkeys and gorillas. No one talks about these channels.
And to be clear, this is not an anti-LDBC video, so don't nobody get it twisted. I have been on some of those channels. I've enjoyed chopping it up with some of those channels. So this is actually not an anti-LDBC video. This is talking about leadership, fit for leadership.
I got you. I understand. I understand completely. I was just saying, like no one talks about those type of channels, and they're out there. I mean, I've heard channels where they would have callers come in, back-to-back callers come in, and their whole thing is to talk and joke about black people.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with boxing. And and like I said, I'm like, wait a minute, I just saw you on another channel, and you what's up, Ross Clark? Oh, hey, how you doing, Ross Clark? And then I hear you on another channel. Yeah, man, looks like it's gonna be a Black Power fight. Oh, Black Lives Matter fight. Like those dudes are those type of channels are straight clowns. Like those dudes in BDA, all a bunch of those clowns at BDA, those are straight clowns over there. You know what I'm saying? And we got white channels using the N-word when they want to talk to black people about boxing. What does that have to do with boxing? And then I see these black channels that have this racist white guy who's been using the N-word on their channel. I can't respect that. Come on, man.
Well, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And that's why I emphasize this is not anti-LDBC as a whole. This is about leadership. And with your point specifically, I've seen those channels. I've accidentally been on a channel and found out that it was that kind of channel. Nobody warned me that it was that kind of channel. And that's why I talk about shapeshifters. What you just mentioned there about a guy being on one of them channel and then rubbing shoulders with the next man and then going over to them kind of channels. Yeah, I'm aware of those kind of characters. And I call those characters shapeshifters. When they're over here, they're one thing. Then they go over there, they're another thing. We know who those characters are. I don't have those characters over here. Those characters aren't welcome over here. They don't come over here. They know about me. They know my position. They know my feelings. They don't come around here. They're not allowed to come around here. But I see other people having them on and pretending like they don't know what type of characters they are. I call those characters shapeshifters.
Facts, Rafi, I agree 100%.
And also, there's people who know that they're shapeshifters, but they persist to have them on to rub shoulders with them. They can't rub shoulders with me. Who wants to come in next? Oh, smash that like button. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Rafi, I agree with you 100%.
Who's talking? Oh, Ross Clark. Yeah,
I just said Ralphie. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. We know those characters are, and the community tolerates them. I don't tolerate them. They don't come around me because they know about me. They know they won't get no tolerance from me. Next person.
Yeah, I could jump in if nobody else wants to. Well, again, my man Ross Clark, you just said nobody talks about them, but you just let us know that you actually call these channels out, so shout out to you, salute to you for, identifying if somebody is doing something that's racist, that's not suitable for the YouTube community, that has nothing to do with boxing. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the best way to, I'm not going to say eliminate, but the best way to manage these kind of channels is to, don't give them any attention. A lot of people thrive on divisiveness. You know what I'm saying? To divide. You understand? And, sometimes some of these guys may not even feel that way, but, in order to get, let's just say, views or to get some kind of clout, this is something that they do. They go in and they force to divide. you know, I think what we're doing now is more of a symbol of how the YouTube boxing community should be, as in us getting on a panel, us having difference of opinions, some alike, some opinions alike, and just having an open discussion about anything we desire to have a discussion about, whether it's boxing, whether it's politics, whether it's a political conversation, whether it's a social issue. You know, to me, that's more of a representation of what the community should be. You know, I think largely part, I think more people would tune in to see something like this versus tuning in to see somebody that's negative or having a divide or somebody that's just promoting foolery. You understand what I'm saying? So the only way to get rid of these people is to get more people like us. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, like myself, I consider myself to be a stand-up guy, and I don't have any narrative when I come on YouTube. So now I've taken it upon myself to, you know, create my own channel. You know what I'm saying? You know, take the steps and create my own channel so my voice can be heard. So maybe the person could tune in and hear something positive for once in a while. But I mean, at the end of the day, I like what we're doing right here. This is good for the community. And Fight Doctor, hey, I don't appreciate you talking about them fur coats, man. Hey, look, let me tell you something, man. Hey, I own several fur coats, man. What you got against the fur coats, man?
I have nothing against fur coats. I got everything against the clown.
Okay. All right, man. All right. We good then. We good.
Good. And so, racist on either side of the politicals, either side of the spectrum, to me is not acceptable. So whichever side of the spectrum it is, the racist on either side of the spectrum is unacceptable to me. But I think Ross Clark made a fantastic point about those people who go to one channel and then they rub shoulders with another channel. Those people I call shapeshifters, and but some people tolerate shapeshifters, so they are equally to blame when they give warmth and when they give warmth to a shapeshifter. I just don't tolerate that. And we look here, we see Rafi BLM and Joshua's speech exposed the closet racist. I think you're saying that Joshua is a closet racist. I know you saw that. I know. Hold on. You're coming after me. I know you saw that.
No. I don't think he is Rafi. Rafi, I think you got it wrong.
Have I got it wrong?
I think BG London is saying. Yeah, I think BG London is saying that Joshua's speech is what exposed the closet racism in the UK.
Yes. In that case,
and I think when BG London's been in the chat, previously, I believe he's of Caribbean origin.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, so yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yes, it did. In that case, yes, it did. I misunderstand what you're saying. Yes, it most certainly did, and there are a lot of them. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. I've got another show to do later on tonight. I'm covering the Campbell versus Garcia fight. I'm going to go around the table one last time. My bad, BG London. But you know, when you guys write in the chat, you have to make it clear, because sometimes it's not very clear. Sometimes it's ambiguous. But I'm going to go. I got another show to do tonight, the Campbell Garcia fight. So I need to get out of here and skedaddle. But before I do that, I'm going to let everybody have one last say on this matter. And I'm going to go, and then we're going to go for picks. So we're going to go around the table once for the last say on the matter. And then we're going to go around the table again to have the picks. So first around the table is me saying my thing on this. My last thing on this is I have gone over to certain channels and I've enjoyed my interactions. I have a whole playlist of my interactions with BFTB. I have a playlist of my interactions with Cali Enigma. And those guys are welcome over here anytime to chop it up reasonably. So this isn't anti-LDBC, but specifically about leadership. And I question the morality of pimping out women. If there's a question asked, do I have a right to speak on it, and am I qualified to speak on it? I have a right to speak on any matter I so see fit, and as a grown man of the world, I am qualified to speak on the things I choose to speak about. Okay, so we're going to go around the table, and we're going to go as it looks on the screen. So next up is Phil Walker. Your final words on this topic, Phil Walker. It's really about leadership, or anything you want to say.
Did you pick a winner for tonight's fight, Ralphie?
No, that's the second time. That's the second time around, Phil. So
okay.
First time around is just the topic. Second time around is the picks. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So again, man, you know, I want to shout out to everybody who came on the panel. Shout out to every single person that's in the chat. Appreciate you guys supporting Ralphie today on his channel, man. That's a wonderful thing. But the last thing I have to say about the discussion about leadership is that you know, leaders are a lot of times chosen. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, what's a good leader to me may not be a good leader to you. But if this person is a leader, he has been chosen by someone. So with that being said, hey, look, if somebody is a part of a community and they choose this particular person and I'm not a part of that community, then, you know, I'm fine. I didn't choose a leader, so I'm not going to pay anything attention to what this particular leader may be talking about. Look, at the end of the day, man, it's 2021. You know, 2020 was a bad year. We got a lot to look forward to. You know, if you're sitting right here, you woke up this morning, you're living, you're breathing, you're able to talk boxing, be around the people that you love, talk about a sport that you love, then to me, in my eyes, you're winning. You know, just bringing in the new year, man. I just want everybody to stay positive, be positive, and you know, you'll see things flourish right before your eyes. So again, man, I like what we did today. We came on to a panel. Some opinions alike, some different, but at the end of the day, we all were respectable gentlemen, and we talked it out. So salute to everybody on the chat and on the panel.
Stick around, Phil. We haven't finished. We're going around one more time. Thank you for that. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. And next up is Jalik, the leader.
Hey, I got to get ready to get out of here, fellas.
Coach K, yeah.
Real quick, man, appreciate all y'all. This is where the community is going. We do this a lot on my channel, and now we're bringing it across the board. Appreciate this, OG Ralphie, because you didn't have to take it. You were respectful. I love some of your opinions. Again, I am aligned with a lot of your principles, and I'm a very principled person. But I just want us as a community, man, to move forward. And this shit been going on for so many years. Like Ross Clyde, I know what the original intent of the LDBC was, but again, I was going in and out to sea, so I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I can't speak on that really, but I want us to be able to hold our own and not worry about people. Because like Phil said, I believe that a lot of people really believe the stuff that they said and that they are saying. And with that, I appreciate y'all for having me on. I don't have a pick in the Garcia thing. I'm gonna just watch it and I'm gonna be tuned in to your show. Tank is my guy, so that's what I'm waiting on, the results. Yeah. And other than that, man, I'm out. I appreciate all y'all. You know, subscribe to my channel, Coach K. I'm on Facebook. I got a sports page on Facebook called Coach K. Just type it in, and that's it, man. I'm out. Appreciate y'all. I finished listening up on the outside.
Okay, much appreciation goes out to Coach K. He kept it respectable. I didn't know which way it was going to come, but he kept it respectable, and he offered his opinions, and that is of value. That is a value. Anybody comes out of here and offers their honest opinion, I do appreciate. Whether I agree or disagree, I do appreciate. Jalik, smash that like button, folks. And remember, I'm going live again tonight around 10 p.m. UK time. Jalik, the leader, please.
Yeah, thanks for allowing myself and everybody else. It's good to always have nice, honest dialogue where people can just get along. You know, we don't gotta like agree with everything, but it's good to express yourself. But as far as the YouTube boxing community as a whole, I mean, the LDBC got their own style. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't tell nobody how to live their life, or, you know, if whatever challenges or whatever 78 does in his life, then that's what he does in his life. So I can't really speak on nobody's life because the way I was brought, you worry about yourself. Ross Clark brought up a good point, and those who have a channel know how it is. Like when you bring up false narratives, if you say, okay, they got a false narrative, but then there's other people that create their false narrative. So there's always this thing. I'm like, so I just recommend you just do you, and whatever comes, this come. You always gonna have some challenges and people that have a difference of opinion. You either gonna debate it out or what it is that you gonna do. So it is what it is with me, because I mean, I really don't got time to be arguing about no boxers and playing games with people like that.
100%, 100%. That was just Jalik, the leader. Smash that like button, people. And remember, I'm going live again around 10 p.m. UK time to cover the zone card. I'm not going to cover the whole of it. I ain't got the whole time. I ain't got time on my hands to cover the whole damn shiznicks, but I will be covering the main parts of it, certainly the main event. Okay. And who's next? It's the Ross Clark. Stick around, everybody, because we're going to picks after this. But just speak on this, the leadership thing, Ross Clark, the thing we were talking about before.
Yeah, I got to agree with what Jalik just said. You know, at the end of the day, we just here to talk boxing. Anything that's going on, whatever political views they have, whatever, you know, racial fight that they have going on outside of boxing. I joined the YTBC strictly for boxing talk, and that's what it was before. So for me, like I said, if this channel's out there where they go beyond boxing, I don't want to hear it, and I don't even want to talk about it. If it's not about boxing, I don't want to discuss it. But I'm glad that we have other channels out there like yours, Ralphie, Boxing Librarian, you know, Red Glove Militant. You know, we got channels like that where it's only boxing and it's never biased. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for me, unfortunately for my channel, I'm very biased when it comes to old school fighters. So, you know, if you want to talk to a biased channel, but at least my channel is only about boxing. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to talk about your race is superior, my race superior, and all that BS. Because at the end of the day, you just sound silly when you take it beyond boxing when we're supposed to be here for just boxing talk. So I'm glad I found your channel. Actually, Boxing Librarian. I think I found your channel through the Boxing Librarian, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
salute to him for helping me find your channel, man. Appreciate that.
Respect is due. Much appreciation. And the Fight Doctor.
So I personally see nothing wrong with clown shaming.
Same. I agree.
You know, if you're going to wear a clown's uniform, then be prepared to deal with the fallout. In terms of the individual in question that we've been talking about, or some of us have been talking about, I can say, well, I'll just lend my opinion that in my opinion, this person is a clown. And I say that from having been on this person's or having listened to this person's channel. And part of the subject matter was him placing his thumb up people's rear ends, literally. So, yeah, that sounds like clown talk. All right. Now, if you're going to go and call yourself a pimp, and in my mind, a pimp and a clown have a lot in common, then you, sir, are a clown. So deal with the fallout. And anyone who would be associated with a group that is led by a clown is, well, they may not be a clown, but you associate with a clown. So deal with the fallout. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, stick around, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and we're going live back again on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio tonight for the Garcia versus Campbell fight. John D. Lee. John, you're muted, John. Yeah.
Yeah, so the point I was making about, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, John.
Okay. Okay. So the reason I think it's important to look at the behaviour of leaders when it comes down to boxing is when it stops fights from happening or creates narratives as to why fights shouldn't happen. It's not about caring about a particular boxer and caring whether they lose. It's about the good of the sport. And when you've got a group like the LDBC, yes, they choose to be their leader is up to them, but they're a big part of the broader boxing community on YouTube, so they need scrutinising. Similarly, that's what I'm saying. There's racist groups out there like BDA. I don't listen to them for the same reason. I don't really listen to any of the LDBC's race baiting stuff. I can't take it seriously because they're always Terence Crawford, who last time I checked was African American. So they're just inconsistent across the board. They're just hypocritical, and it's more about supporting a particular
area. Okay.
Broadcaster. It is. Can you hear me?
You're dropping out, John. You're dropping in and out. But yeah, finish your point, my friend, and then we go around the table one last time.
All right, Rafi. All right. Well, the main point is when it has an impact on boxing as a whole, I think they need holding to account, and I think the LDB do actually have an impact. I think they get in the way of big fights happening. Two of the biggest fights everybody's waiting to see were Joshua and Wilder, which didn't happen, and now it looks like we're not going to get Spencer and Crawford. Ironically, all of the fighters involved in those fights were black. So although they're supposed to be pro-black, it doesn't mean that they're consistently pro-black.
Yes. Sometimes you gotta be held up to scrutiny. I totally agree with that. Okay, smash that like button.
I agree with that too. I agree with John Dealey too on that. 100%.
100%, absolutely. You got to be held up to scrutiny. Nothing wrong with shining the torch on people who routinely, habitually shine the torch on others. But it ain't no hate. It's just, hey, you got to switch the torch around sometime. You got to flip it around, like that the phone you have on your, the camera you have on your phone when you can flip it one way, then flip it the other. Well, it's just like that. We're just flipping the camera phone. Okay. The camera on the phone. Okay, so the last go around, and we're gonna do our brief predictions, very, very brief predictions on Campbell versus Garcia tonight, right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And the first person up on the screen is Phil Walker, and this is the final words. Okay, Phil Walker.
All right, man. My final words on this is, man, shout out to Texas, man. We've been having a lot of big fights down here. I know things have been kind of shaky with the whole pandemic thing going on, but Texas is allowing people to pack stadiums as much as possible, so fans can get a piece of that entertainment that they also desire and love. So shouts out to Texas, man. I'm right here in the big Texas. So tonight, as far as the fight is concerned, I know what I'm going to get from Luke Campbell, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to get from Ryan Garcia. I mean, at the end of the day, I do think Luke Campbell is the guy that's going to give me some of these unanswered questions I have about this kid. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think these guys are both going to come in and give it, 110%. I just want to see a great fight, man. I have a lot of unanswered questions. Of course, I would like for the American to win without a doubt. So let me just say that straight away. I'm rooting for the American, but I know it is. I'm not naive to know that it is a lot of unanswered questions about Ryan Garcia. And I think Luke Campbell is a respectable opponent that is going to push him past the brink of what we've seen him previously. So shouts out to Luke Campbell to the UK. And I hope this guy brings all that he can in this fight with Ryan Garcia tonight. We get a wonderful outcome for the American party.
100%. So Phil Walker, make sure that you tune in if you're available to the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, and we cover the fight tonight.
I'm going to be at the fight, Ralphie. I'm going to it. So. Oh,
you're actually at the fight? Damn it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the fight. So
that's amazing. That's great. That's 100% great. And that was the Phil Walker. Thank you very much for coming over, Phil Walker. And as you know, you are always welcome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Always respect, man. Absolutely.
Always.
I love coming over here.
Always, 100%. So that was Phil Walker. Much appreciation goes out to the Phil Walker. And up next on the screen, I see Jalik, the leader.
Raphael Dawkins, shout out to the UK.
UK.
Yeah, shout out to the UK, man. Y'all definitely some great fans of boxing, and I always like kicking it with y'all. And y'all definitely support y'all fighters. I got Ryan Garcia, not by knockout. I got him by like a good 7-5, because Ryan Garcia is gonna have to get in his bag, because I don't think he's gonna knock him out. And and a lot of people is looking at Ryan Garcia's left hook, but he also has a good right hand and straight right. And what's the best punch to do against the southpaw is the straight right. So I see him dropping Luke Campbell. Like Luke Campbell has he's kind of like Sean Porter. They can't get over the hump when they fight a certain level of competition. Now Sean Porter got a couple wins. Danny Garcia, I think he lost to Ugas. So I got Ryan Garcia winning, and the takeover is going to begin, because Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Cinco de Mayo, is coming up in May. I've been saying that for months, and people might say that's a false narrative, but I think it's going to happen. Ryan Garcia is great for boxing, and the 135 division is on fire. And I got a question for you, Raphael.
Yo,
ask Rasclot. I've been chasing this guy Rasclot for a debate for some reason, but for some reason, every time he come on, his phone mess up. Ask Rasclot, what's up with that, bro? I'm out of here.
I can answer that.
I literally
been
guy since 2019, bro.
I can answer that. Being that I'm TVE in debate, and I'm probably the best debater in the world, I'm retired now, and I can't come out of retirement. But maybe me and you, we could do like a exhibition debate or something for the people. You know what I'm saying?
I literally been chasing this guy.
How are we gonna do that?
Okay, so that was Jalik, the leader. Jalik, the leader. Thank you for coming over. You're always welcome. Big and thank you for your support on what do they call it? Twitter. Jalik, the leader. Thank you. Jalik, the leader. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. My fault, man. Yeah.
Okay, bro. That's it. Thank you for your wrap up. Thank you for your wrap up, and that's your final words. And thank you for your support. Much appreciated. Okay, so that was the Jalik, the leader. And next up on the screen, I see John D. Lee. John D. Lee, your pick for tonight, my friend. John, yeah.
It's a hard pick because can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. You can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, John. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yeah.
So we know what we get from Luke. We know what we get from Luke Campbell. Okay. So we know what we get from Luke Campbell. He finds a way to fail at the highest level. The issue that we have with this fight is we don't know what level Ryan Garcia is at. Because if Ryan isn't at the highest level, I think there's a good chance that Luke can win.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go against the trend and say Luke Campbell by stoppage, mainly because I haven't seen any defensive skills from Ryan. I've heard a lot of talk about how he's going to knock him out, but I think he's going to leave himself exposed and possibly gas out if he doesn't get rid of Luke early doors. So that's what I'm going for. I might look foolish afterwards, but that's what I'm going for.
That's a nice pick. I like that. I like that pick. Are you working tonight, or are you here?
Yeah. I'll be at work, right?
Okay, buddy. Okay, but
don't work.
Got to get that money in. Okay, that's great stuff. Thank you, John Daly. Much appreciation for dropping by tonight. Okay, I think 2 people dropped off. I don't get that. Maybe Ross Clark dropped off before he gave his pick, and he's back. That's good. Okay, so the next person I see on my screen is the Fight Doctor. Fight Doctor, your final words on the pick. Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell.
I need a ringside seat for that Rasclot Jalik the leader debate.
Yeah.
So
It's the exhibition debate. It's the exhibition debate.
the exhibition debate, right? So make sure that you guys make sure that I know about that one, because when just name the time and the place, I'll be there. I need a ringside seat, gentlemen. Okay, so definitely. So I think I like Garcia tonight, and if there's any way possible, I would love for one of those LDBC guys to come over here and explain themselves and answer for the antics of their so-called leader. If there's any way possible, I would love for one of those guys to come over here and come over here and let's chop it up.
Yeah.
And see what the story is. And answer for their antics and for their so-called leader.
Yes. And that was the Fight Doctor. Much appreciation goes out to the Fight Doctor. Okay, Fight Doctor, much appreciation. We're going live around 10 p.m. tonight. If you're around, be sure to drop in. So that was the Fight Doctor. Thank you very much. And the next person I see on my screen, and then there were two, is the Ross Clot. Yep. Give me a pick, my friend.
Well, I think tonight that Ryan Garcia is going to win. Even if he does lose, it's Golden Boy Promotions. Ryan, I see Campbell have to go by a knockout in order to win, because Ryan Garcia is the next in line to be the star for Golden Boy. So I don't see him losing at all. But do I see him actually beating Campbell? I do see him actually beating Campbell. And I think Campbell is a much better opponent than Gamboa, who Haney just fought. And I think he's a much better opponent than Leo Santa Cruz. Now, do I think that Ryan Garcia could beat Haney? I think Ryan Garcia could beat Haney, but I don't think he could beat Tank Davis. So I really hope that Ryan Garcia show up and really put on a great performance, because then it'll outshine what Devin Haney did in his last fight, which was a straight up stinker. So I'm picking Ryan Garcia to win, and let's see what happens after that.
Let's see what happens after that. And that was the Ross Clark. Much appreciation, Ross Clark. We're going live tonight.
No doubt.
Excellente. So thanks goes out to the Ross Clark. Okay.
All right, salute, Rob.
Take care, bro. Take care. Okay.
Brother. Bye.
So, and then there was one. And it's been a great show. It's been good to have everybody over here. It's good that people kept it respectful. And I got a shout out to everybody who was up on the panel. Too many names to mention. So if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button. BG London says, great show, Rafi. I'm an opinionated person, but I always have respect for your channel, brother. Peace out. And sometimes, it's hard to, sometimes you make mistakes when you're reading the chat. Sometimes it can be a little bit ambiguous. But 100% much appreciation for coming over. Much appreciation to everybody who came over and everyone who took time out of the day to get into the chat. And so now I have to give my pick. Sorry, I have to go against the British guy, but I think that I hope I'm wrong, but I think that Ryan Garcia, too fast, too strong, heavier punches. But if Luke Campbell can take him into deep waters, that could make this thing interesting. But I have to say, I think it's going to be Ryan Garcia by knockout in between the 7th and the 10th round. But I hope I'm wrong. If Luke Campbell can pull this off, then I would be absolutely delighted. So, as I said, around 10 p.m. tonight, UK time, tune in to the Raphael Dawkins Comeback Radio, where we will cover that fight. And normally we go live 9 p.m. UK time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you've had a good experience. And what else is there left to say? It's the Raphael Dawkins, it's the Comeback Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. UK time. Go check the back catalog. It's the Raphael Dawkins, and I'm out.